June 19, 1944. Dawn breaks over the Philippine Sea, 400 miles west of Saipan. The ocean below is a sheet of hammered steel, rippling under the downdraft of propellers. Inside the belly of a U.S. Navy aircraft carrier, engines cough to life one by one, the sound echoing through steel ribs and oil-stained decks. You can smell it: aviation fuel, hot metal, salt air. Ensign Robert Tex Harlan, 23 years old, grips the canopy frame of his Grumman TBF Avenger as deck crews yank the chocks free. The Avenger squats on the flight deck like a bulldog, wide, blunt-nosed, its wings folded like clenched fists. It is not graceful. It is not fast. Japanese naval intelligence officers had once laughed at reconnaissance photos of it, dismissing the aircraft as too big, too slow, too clumsy to survive against experienced carrier fighters and heavy flak. Some had nicknamed it, with quiet contempt, a flying coffin. Harlan has heard the jokes too. Everyone has. He glances back at his crew. Aviation radioman second class Eddie Morales, hunched over the radio set, and aviation ordnanceman third class Jack Loomis, locked into the rear turret, twin .50 caliber Brownings resting like coiled snakes. Between them hangs the reason they are here: one Mark 13 torpedo, slung under the Avenger's belly, dull gray and brutally simple. Across the sea, unseen beyond the curvature of the earth, Vice Admiral Jisaburo Ozawa's mobile fleet is moving into position. Japanese cruisers and carriers cut through the water in disciplined lines, their decks crowded with aircraft and confident men. In wardrooms and briefing rooms, senior officers still believe American torpedo planes are easy prey, slow targets that must fly straight and low to attack, targets that can be shattered before they ever release their weapons. They believe that because once it was true. The signal flag snaps upward, engines surge. Harlan's Avenger lurches forward, tires rattling across the deck. The bow drops away, and then the aircraft is airborne, heavy and reluctant, climbing inch by inch over open water. Around him, dozens more Avengers rise, forming loose squadrons, their wings shimmering in the early light. The Avenger does not race into the sky. It endures its way there. As the formation levels off, Morales tunes the radio, catching fragments of chatter, fighter cover assembling overhead, strike groups forming, bearings being called out. Loomis scans the horizon through the turret glass, eyes narrowed. Somewhere out there are Japanese cruisers bristling with anti-aircraft guns, their crews trained to shred torpedo planes before they can get close. Harlan tightens his grip on the controls. The Avenger's engine hums steadily, almost stubbornly, as if daring the enemy to try. Far below, the sea waits. The Avengers drone westward, their formation stretching thin against the vastness of the Pacific. Hours pass. The sun climbs, baking the cockpit glass until sweat runs down Harlan's spine. Then Morales stiffens, one hand pressed to his headset. "Contact," he says. "Multiple bogeys. Bearing 270. Ahead, the horizon darkens, not with clouds, but with ships. Japanese cruisers come into view first, gray hulls knifing through the water, wakes foaming white. Beyond them, carrier silhouettes loom like floating cities. Even at distance, the decks bristle with aircraft. Harlan can almost feel the eyes on him now, range-finders swinging, directors calculating speed and altitude. Below, black puffs blossom in the air. Flak. The first bursts are distant, harmless. Then the sky thickens with them. Shrapnel rattles against the Avenger's skin like thrown gravel. The aircraft shudders, but it holds together. Loomis's voice crackles over the intercom, calm but tight. They're walking it up, lots of guns. Japanese gunners have seen this before, torpedo planes descending, forced to fly low and straight to drop their weapons. That moment, those few endless seconds, has always been their killing zone. Officers aboard the cruiser Mogami watch through binoculars, confident. These American planes are big, slow, easy. Harlan pushes the nose down. Altitude bleeds away. The Avenger descends through smoke and bursting shells, engine roaring at full throttle. The sea rushes up until it fills the windscreen, green and violent. Tracer rounds streak past, orange lines slashing the air. One punches through the wing, tearing fabric and metal, but the Avenger keeps flying. That is when the Japanese assumptions begin to fail. The TBF Avenger is not fragile. Its armor plate shrugs off fragments that would shred lighter aircraft. Its self-sealing fuel tanks swell and close around bullet holes. Where older torpedo planes would already be burning, Harlan's aircraft keeps coming, scarred, rattling, but alive. "Steady, steady," Morales mutters, timing the run. Harlan levels out just above the wave tops, flying so low that spray lashes the fuselage. The cruiser's hull fills his vision now. He can see sailors running, can see gun barrels tracking him, can see the red sun insignia painted on aircraft parked aft. Flak explodes around him. The cockpit flashes white-hot for an instant. Alarms scream, then fall silent. Loomis opens fire, his twin Brownings hammering, tracers stitching across the cruiser's deck, forcing gunners to duck. "Drop! Drop!" Morales shouts. Harlan presses the release. The Avenger jumps as the Mark 13 torpedo falls away, striking the water with a splash and vanishing beneath the surface. For a heartbeat, nothing happens. Then Harlan yanks the stick back, skimming the waves as flak claws at his tail. Behind him, unseen by the men who laughed, the torpedo runs true, straight towards the cruiser's midsection. The torpedo hits with a sound no one on the Avenger hears, but everyone aboard the Japanese cruiser feels. A dull underwater thump, followed by a violent shudder that ripples through steel decks and bulkheads. Below the waterline, the Mark 13 detonates, tearing open the hull like a peeled tin can. Seawater floods in with unstoppable force, smashing machinery, drowning compartments, killing men in an instant. On the bridge, officers stagger as the deck lurches. Rangefinders swing wildly. Orders are shouted, then lost in the chaos. Black smoke belches skyward as secondary explosions ignite deep inside the ship. The cruiser begins to list, slow at first, then unmistakably. Above it all, Harlan's Avenger claws for altitude, engines screaming in protest. The aircraft shakes violently, controls heavy, response sluggish, warning lights flicker. He glances at the gauges. Oil pressure low, fuel leaking. But they are alive. Other Avengers streak past at wave-top height, each one making its own deadly run. Japanese gunners try to keep up, but the sky is suddenly too full. These are not isolated targets. This is a coordinated strike. Dozens of torpedo bombers arriving almost simultaneously, forcing the ship's defenses to split their fire. A second cruiser erupts in flame as two torpedoes slam home in quick succession. Another ship takes a bomb amidships from a diving Avenger, the explosion punching straight through the deck. The sea fills with debris, oil, and men. From above, Japanese officers watch in disbelief. These aircraft were supposed to be easy to kill. They were supposed to burn before reaching release range. Instead, they are absorbing punishment, flying through flak that would have obliterated earlier torpedo planes, and delivering precise, lethal blows. Harlan banks hard, pulling away as Zero fighters dive in from above. Tracers flash past the canopy. Loomis swivels the turret and fires, the Brownings barking defiance. 1-0 flashes across the nose, close enough that Harlan sees the pilot's goggles. The Avenger is hit again. The engine coughs, then steadies. Any other aircraft might already be spiraling down. The Grumman keeps flying. Miles away, aboard a Japanese carrier, an intelligence officer grips the rail, eyes fixed on the smoke columns rising from the cruisers. He has seen reports, after-action notes from earlier battles, warnings about the Avenger's armor and payload. They were dismissed as exaggeration. Now the proof is written in fire. The cruiser Harlan attacked settles lower in the water, its list worsening by the minute. Damage control parties fight, but the sea keeps coming. Eventually, the order is given: abandon ship. Boats are lowered into oil-slicked water as the hull groans, then rolls. By afternoon, the ship is gone. Harlan limps back toward the carriers with a wounded engine and torn wings. As the flight deck rises beneath him, crewmen stare at the Avenger in stunned silence. Holes pepper the fuselage, control surfaces hang ragged, but the aircraft lands, catches the wire, and stops. Only then does Harlan realize his hands are shaking. Out on the Philippine Sea, Japanese naval doctrine has just suffered a mortal wound. October 25, 1944. Leyte Gulf. The water is darker here, the skies lower, heavy with rain and smoke. Japanese surface forces, desperate, underfed, and running low on fuel, push south in a last attempt to break the American landings in the Philippines. Among them are heavy cruisers and battleships, veterans of earlier victories, their crews clinging to discipline and pride. Above them, the Avengers return. By now, the aircraft is no longer a mystery to American pilots or to Japanese commanders who have survived earlier encounters. The bulky torpedo plane, once mocked in briefings, now appears in intelligence reports with underlined warnings: rugged, accurate, hard to destroy. Still, there is no alternative. The ships must advance. An Avenger squadron breaks through cloud cover, rain streaking across canopies. Pilots peer down through mist and smoke, spotting wakes and gun flashes. The descent begins again, low, straight, unavoidable. Japanese gunners open fire, flak tearing black holes in the clouds. But the Avengers keep coming. One aircraft takes a direct hit to the fuselage, staggers and recovers. Another loses a wingtip and still manages to drop its bomb before veering away. Torpedoes slam into hulls already weakened by months of combat and shortages of skilled repair crews. A Japanese cruiser shudders as a torpedo detonates beneath its boilers. Power dies. The ship slows, then stops, a sitting target. More Avengers circle back, methodical now, their crews grim and efficient. Bombs fall, fire spreads. From the bridge, a Japanese captain watches the sky through smoke-stung eyes. These are not reckless attackers, they are deliberate. They know exactly how much punishment their aircraft can take and exactly how close they must fly to kill him. After the battle, survivors speak in hushed tones. They talk about American torpedo planes that would not fall, that flew through walls of fire and still struck true. They talk about engines that kept running after being hit again and again, about gunners who fired until the last second, forcing heads down and guns silent. Years later, in post-war interviews and memoirs, Japanese officers admit the truth. The Avenger had been underestimated. Its size, once ridiculed, made room for armor, crew, and payload.
Its slowness, paired with discipline and coordination, became survivability. Its pilots learned to use it not as a fragile spear, but as a hammer. The laughter had stopped. The Avenger would fly on through the end of the war, through storms and flak, returning again and again with scars and empty bomb bays. It never looked like a hero's aircraft. It never needed to. It simply did the job and sent enemy ships, one by one, to the bottom.